Gas masks are life-saving devices designed to protect our lungs from various hazards. But did you know that there are some gas masks that can potentially kill you? Inhaling asbestos can cause health problems of all kinds, including lung cancer. So it's a bit ironic that asbestos was once a go-to material in gas masks, a piece of equipment designed to protect our lungs. To understand why, let's rewind to the 20th century, specifically World War I. World War I is still one of the most destructive and devastating wars to date. Combat completely changed as warfare was supersized by technology and industrialization, and one of the main technological advances in World War I was also responsible for a large chunk of the death toll: chemical warfare. In the aftermath of World War I, many nations agreed that the devastation of chemical weapons was something no one wished to see repeated, and in 1925 they signed an international agreement known as the Geneva Protocol, banning chemical warfare. But just a few years later, humanity found itself in another world war, and many countries decided that this treaty was not enough. They needed safety equipment for soldiers and civilians, and gas masks were the answer. The problem was that asbestos was the material of choice to use in the filters of many gas masks. The truth is, in many ways, asbestos was ideal for filtration and was used to filter many things, including cigarettes, which we covered on another episode of Asbestos Artifacts, and beer. Asbestos and gas masks in particular seemed like a match made in heaven. Asbestos fibers are extremely durable with a higher tensile strength than steel. Asbestos fibers are extremely small and can be woven together very tightly for a dense filter. Asbestos is flame-proof and resistant in the face of extreme heat. Asbestos is weatherproof, which is good for traveling soldiers exposed to the climate 24/7. Asbestos resists oxidation and won't rust, and it's highly non-reactive, so when it gets hit by chlorine gas or other chemical weapons, it won't break down. Instead, it will filter them out of the breath. The only problem is that asbestos fibers are microscopic, as small as white blood cells, so any fibers that shook loose or broke up from the filter were easily inhaled and potentially harmful decades later. So let's take a look at this gas mask. This should be the Soviet GP5 model. And what you can tell here is this is kind of a rubber material. There's glass lenses that are sewn in over the eye holes so you can see out of it, obviously. And then this is where the air will come in and you breathe it. To make this actually be the gas mask, you have to have a filter. The filter will come in a canister, and you simply will unscrew this, and that reveals the filtration medium. This screws on in here, you get it nice and tight, and then fit this thing over you, and you'll find a really difficult time breathing. Our friend you saw on camera earlier who was using this had a very difficult time with it. Modern respirators come with a battery-powered fan to make it easier. The Soviets instead give you this nice little canvas sack to keep your gas mask in. Undoubtedly, a person would prefer to use an asbestos mask in the face of a chemical weapon, even if risking asbestos illness decades later. But mesothelioma and lung cancer can be brutal, and anyone who collects war memorabilia should be cautious about buying unsourced gas masks. Now, during World War II, the most widespread production probably happened in the United Kingdom, but many countries used asbestos gas masks, and it's worth being careful with 1940s-era canisters. Over 100 million military personnel and civilians were given asbestos gas masks for protection. As far as more recent gas masks, several models are known to have contained asbestos. In particular, the Soviet GP5 model, what we have here, has been shown in tests to contain as much as 7% chrysotile, or what's known as white asbestos, the most widely used type in industry. For all the barbarism and hatred of the Nazi war machine, during World War II, German scientists were very concerned about cancer and actually made advances in research that was both anti-smoking and anti-asbestos. But in Britain and the US, the asbestos industry was denying, covering up, or trying to discredit health research about the health problems of asbestos on both sides of the Atlantic. In fact, it took doctors, labor leaders, and lawyers filing lawsuits against companies to discover documents showing the asbestos industry knew the truth about their product and finally alerting the public to its danger. Unfortunately, the fears and reality of chemical warfare seem like they will forever loom over humans, and there have even been some events of chemical spills and other airborne dangers. Some live in war zones and don't have a choice. Others prepare for the disaster they hope to avoid. And since ancient times, war memorabilia has captured the imagination of collectors. But if you have any doubts about the safety of an item on display in a store or online, use caution, or get it tested like I did. Don't worry, we're good. Thanks for watching this episode of Asbestos Artifacts. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and post any questions about asbestos you may have in the comments.